What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Trevor Bryan versus Jonathan Guidry, and this is going to be a 12-rounder for the WBA Heavyweight World Championship, and this fight is going to be Saturday, January 29th from the Packard Music Hall in Warren, Ohio, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on Fight TV. And to get into both fighters' resumes, Trevor Bryan, fighting out of the United States, holds a record of 21 wins, no defeats with 15 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently not ranked by BoxRec due to inactivity in the heavyweight division. However, he is the former WBA interim heavyweight world champion, but was upgraded to WBA regular champion, which is the title he currently holds. And that was after Manuel Char was stripped due to inactivity and not defending his belt for a number of years. But now to list some of his best victories, Trevor Bryan has beaten Derek Rossi by unanimous decision. He's knocked out a past prime BJ Flores, and he's coming off an 11th round knockout victory over a far past his prime Berman Stavern. And to get his opponent's resume, Jonathan Guidry, fighting out of the United States as well, holds an undefeated record of 17-0 with 2 draws and 10 knockouts, but he is ranked 253 by BoxRec, and his resume isn't that good, as his 2 draws came by majority decision, one to Ronald Baca and one to Keenan Hickman, but he did sort of rebound from that majority draw against Baca and got a unanimous decision in their rematch. But I would say that Guidry's best victory, aside from that Baca rematch victory, is probably a knockout win over Corey Phelps. And Corey Phelps is a fighter who had a record of 16-11 going into the fight. That's really how bad Jonathan Guidry's resume is. And in my opinion, this fight is just a horrible fight. I have no clue why this fight was made or how it was made. Jonathan Guidry randomly came into the WBA rankings at number 13. He has a real Midwestern 17-0 record. Not really any big wins. And another thing to mention is that he's only 5'11", and as you can see here from this weighing photo, he's not really in the best shape. And I mean, he's just probably just going to get obliterated, which is what I think personally. And comment down below what your thoughts are on this fight, because I just really want to see Trevor Bryan prove the fighter that he could be. Because I mean, earlier on in his career, he was a very promising, decent U.S. heavyweight amateur, undefeated as a pro, got some nice wins on Showbox, specifically that win over Derek Rossi. Then he had sort of a long layoff after beating BJ Flores for that interim title. Many people thought that he could have had much bigger opportunities, but he just really just sat there like calling out some of the bigger names like Joshua Wilder at the time when they had belts. And he was really looking for a payday, and he didn't get one. And it was supposed to be just Manuel Char in this fight, and Manuel Char was supposed to fight Trevor Bryan multiple times throughout history, but nope, it never happened because of whatever, getting Manuel Char into the country, not sending him contracts, whatever. And Manuel Char is, I'm apparently furious with this, and I would love to see that fight. I just really want to see Manuel Char fight Trevor Bryan, and that's a fight that I think Char possibly might win, considering that nowadays Trevor Bryan is 270 pounds, fairly inactive, and not really looking that good in the ring. So, but as for his opponent here, Jonathan Guidry, not really impressive if Trevor Bryan does beat him, which I think he will. And this is just not a good fight at all, if I'm going to be 100% honest. Trevor Bryan should not be defending his belt against these lower level contenders. Even though Berman Stavern's a former champion, still he was past his prime and just coming off losses to up and coming heavyweights such as Joe Joyce and more. So I mean, why did he even get that fight? And the thing is, the same thing exactly happened last year. The fight happened on January 29th, 2021. Trevor Bryan was supposedly going to fight Manuel Char, but then Manuel Char doesn't get his contract, and then Don King puts in a fighter that he does promote in Berman Stavern in there, and then they fight, and Trevor Bryan wins. And then a year later, it seems like Trevor Bryan's just going to fight in a yearly schedule with his belt until he gets an opportunity, possibly against Alexander Usyk, considering that the WBA mandatory is next. So that's definitely a possibility, and I think Usyk will absolutely smash him inside the first half of their fight and just break him down and dominate him. Maybe even similar to Chaz Witherspoon, just breaking him down through 6 or 7 rounds and just ending the fight, just battering him and just winning every single round easily. And it might even be easier considering that Usyk has developed even more at heavyweight. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, he'll get smashed by anyone, in my opinion, inside the top 15 in the heavyweight division. And, I mean, he's really not just making himself a better fighter by fighting these guys, because he's fighting Jonathan Guidry. If you ever watch Guidry fight, he's just a Midwestern fighter who fights on little local shows for a couple $1,000 for his paycheck. So this was a huge opportunity for Guidry, and obviously he took it. Apparently this is probably, or definitely, the biggest paycheck of his career. And once again, it was actually supposed to be Manuel Char in the ring. Like I said, like last year, Manuel Char was supposed to fight Bryan, but then it was Stavern, and now it was supposed to be Char again, but no, apparently a couple weeks before this fight is supposed to happen, or was supposed to happen, yeah, the opponent was changed to Jonathan Guidry, and many people don't really know who he is. I didn't know who he was until I Googled him. So until I really saw him into the WBA rankings, and I was thinking, who is this guy? And I looked at his resume, and I was like, wow, he's definitely getting put in there with a higher ranked fighter in the WBA, and little did we know that it was going to be Trevor Bryan. So if you've ever watched Jonathan Guidry fight, he's very short, as mentioned before. He's only 5'11". Trevor Bryan's like 6'4", 6'4.5", somewhere around there, maybe 6'3.5", give or take. But yeah, Guidry is only 5'11". He sort of has a peekaboo guard, but he sort of lets his hands down a bit, which I think will be deadly for him in this fight, or will lead to him getting caught a lot, and I think he could lead to his eventual loss in this fight. And I think he will get caught with a lot of shots with that defense, and I don't really think that his defense is that good. Nonetheless, not really good head movement. He's not really like a George Arias, for example. A shorter fighter. I know he's not really that popular, but he's coming off the win over Cassius Chaney. He's a fighter who's also around like 5'11", 6 foot, but he's got great head movement. And for example, like Mike Tyson, 5'11", excellent head movement. But Jonathan Guidry, 5'11", not a great example of that. And we're going to see that definitely in this fight against Trevor Bryan. I just think Trevor Bryan is going to come forward and just easily dominate Guidry. Guidry is really like fighting a nobody on his resume. It's really like Trevor Bryan's other opponents besides like Berman, Severn, Flores, and Rossi. And although those guys aren't really the best opposition, I mean, Guidry is like 10 times worse than all of them. So, I mean, it's really going to be an easy night for Trevor Bryan, and it really depends on if Guidry has a chin, because I don't really see him having much of a chance boxing with Trevor Bryan, or just brawling with him and hurting him or whatnot. So I think that Guidry will get stopped, and it could be anywhere from like rounds 2 to round 6. I think round 1 will be a feel-out round where Trevor Bryan comes forward with that double jab, starts really landing his straights down the pipe, possibly drops and stops Guidry in round 2, unless Guidry does survive all the way up until round 6 and gets stopped standing, or just dropped multiple times and the referee waves it off, or just fully knocked out cold. But with that being said, I think Trevor Bryan should easily be able to defeat Jonathan Guidry. And comment down below who you think is going to win and what you think is next for Trevor Bryan, and your thoughts on his quote-unquote title reign when he's fighting all of these lower-level opponents who aren't even ranked inside the top 30, let alone top 10 in the heavyweight division. So, yeah, I think Trevor Bryan will dominate Jonathan Guidry, as mentioned before. Jonathan Guidry, very limited with his opposition, and I think Trevor Bryan, being that he had actually a decent amateur background and has beaten some fighters that have some experience, and he's gotten wins over them, I think he should easily really go out on top over Jonathan Guidry. So overall, I believe that Trevor Bryan will successfully defend his WBA regular heavyweight world title with a knockout victory over Jonathan Guidry. And once again, I think the stoppage will happen from rounds 2 to round 6. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.